Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here. Today I've joined the Trinity Stamps team in the 12 Tags of Christmas series. I'll be creating some cute little coffee tags using the Tiny Mugs die set. Then I'm going to bring in a few embellishments using the Garden Flowers die. As always, I encourage you to use what you have when you create this project, but if you would like a list of the supplies that I'm using, one can be found in the description below, along with a link to the Trinity Stamps shop. I've cut out some tag shapes using a die in my collection. One has been cut from cardstock, and two are cut from pattern paper. I'm going to use the pattern paper shapes to create some backgrounds for my tags. With a paper cutter, I'm going to cut some strips of paper. You can also bring in some paper scraps or leftover product strips that you have in your scrap bin. This is a really easy way to decorate your tags. Now, tags are one of those things that usually get thrown away, so I'm not going to be adding a lot of embellishments to these. If this were a card or a scrapbook page, I might add some stitching. But today I'm just going to adhere these down quickly so that I can make a bunch of these for our gifts this year. I have cut out one of the tiny mugs from craft paper, and I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the edges. If you are making a bunch of tags, this step can be skipped. I'm using a watercolor pencil to add my shading. I'm using the dry on dry method, which is a simple way to add color with watercolor pencils. If you wanted to soften this, you could add a little bit of water. I wanted to add a little bit of foam at the top of my coffee mug, but I didn't have anything that was foam shaped and small enough to fit the tiny mugs. After looking through my dies, I realized that this little flower here could be used to create a little foam shape at the top of the mug. I'm going to cut apart the petals. The deckled edge and stitching detail add some great foam-like texture. I'm layering two of these on the back of the tiny mug, and now I have a cute little latte. I'm going to bring in some berry sprigs to layer onto my background. This was cut from the Garden Flower set. I also cut out the matching berries. I find that it's best to dry fit these so that I know where they go before I adhere them in place. If you want to add dimension to your tag, you can add some foam tape behind these. Some of these tags are probably going to get thrown away, and I didn't want to use up my adhesive on something that was disposable. If you wanted to add some shimmer and shine to your tags, you could cut your berries from glitter paper or metallic papers, or you could add a little bit of shine with a glimmer brush. You could also add some details to your berries with a white gel pen. I'm going to place my little coffee mug right here and decorate it with a tiny snowflake. This was cut from the Freezing Season die set. This is designed to create a penguin, snowman, and deer on a coffee mug. There's this tiny little snowflake on here that is the perfect size for these tiny mugs. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the snowflake and set it in the center of the coffee cup. And then I'm going to bring in a 1/2-inch strip of white cardstock and place it at the lower part of my tag. This is where I can add a sentiment or write the person's name. All right, the first tag is finished. I'm just going to set it aside and bring in the second one. Once again, I have cut one tag from white cardstock and two from pattern paper. I'm just going to bring in my paper trimmer and cut a few pattern strips so that I can decorate the tag. Tags are the perfect way for you to use up some of your paper scraps. You can also use up a lot of your leftover holiday patterns. Sometimes you have Christmas patterns left over from a card making project, or maybe you have some plaids or leaf designs left over from fall. Those are also perfect for holiday tags. On this tag, I left a little gap between two of the pattern strips so that I could place that 1/2-inch strip of cardstock. I'm going to use 2 little craft colored mugs for this design. Once again, I'm going to bring in my walnut colored pencil and add a little bit of shading. On the last mug, I use the dry on dry method. This time I'm going to bring in a wet brush and activate that pigment and create a soft watercolor wash along the edges of my coffee mugs. I'm going to add some foam at the top of each of these mugs, just like I did before. Once again, I'm just going to bring in those flower die cuts, cut apart the petals, and layer these in place. I cut my flowers from plain white cardstock. If you want your foam to have a little bit of shimmer, you could cut these from a glitter cardstock or brush a little bit of glitter over the top with a shimmer brush. I'm going to add 2 little snowflakes on the front of these mugs. There are also some little stars on the emergency essential die sets that could be used. Or you could bring in a heart-shaped stamp or any of your small little Christmas decoration stamps to these designs. I'm going to place a little piece of foam tape on my glass board and set the coffee mugs over the top. And then I'll use my little pick tool to pick these up and place them on the top of the tag. I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon and twine to these, and then I'll share the finished tags with you. Here are the 2 little coffee tags that we created today. I hope that you enjoyed my 12 tags of Christmas project and that it inspired you to try something new. If you have any questions about the project or supplies I used, feel free to post those in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.